All right, you beautiful dirt-obsessed hustlers, gather round because I am about to save you 3 years of broke gardener pain in one video. Picture this. It is Saturday morning at a farmer's market in Boulder, Colorado. 2 organic stalls side by side. One dude has a truck full of sweet corn. He spent 4 months babysitting, and he is charging $3 an ear, and nobody is buying. Right next to him, a 23-year-old girl with a folding table and 3 trays of tiny purple radish microgreens just made $800 in 90 minutes, and she is sold out before her iced coffee melts. That is not luck. That is math, and most new growers in the United States are doing the math completely backwards. If you think organic profit means you need 40 acres and a trust fund, you have been lied to by every romantic farm movie ever made. The real money in America right now is not in being bigger. It is in being smarter, smaller, tighter, and way more dialed into what rich, health-obsessed customers actually want to put in their overpriced green smoothies. I was you. I planted 200 row feet of zucchini my first year because some blog said it was easy to grow. Yeah, it is easy to grow. It is also impossible to give away after week 2 when everyone within a 5-mile radius hides when they see you coming with another grocery bag full. So I burned that whole plan down and rebuilt around profit per square foot. And that one mindset shift turned my backyard from a money pit into an actual side business that pays my truck payment every single month. So today, on Organic Matters, we are breaking down the most profitable organic crops per square foot that actually slap in the United States market right now. And trust me, number 5 is going to make you rethink your entire spring plan. Number 1, microgreens, the tiny hustle that prints money. Listen up, this is not gardening, this is urban manufacturing. You take a 10 by 20 tray, you add a little organic soil, you sprinkle seeds so thick it looks like you made a mistake, you missed it for a week, you cut it, and you get paid. Chefs from Seattle to Miami are addicted to this stuff because it is fragile, it is vibrant, it is organic, and it cannot survive being shipped from California in a hot FedEx truck for 3 days. That is your superpower. You live 10 minutes away. You harvest at 7 in the morning and you deliver by 10, still perky and perfect. Pea shoots, sunflower, Rambo radish, purple basil microgreens. Those are selling for $30 to $50 a pound wholesale to restaurants and 60 plus retail. Most beginners fail because they grow a generic salad mix and try to sell it to nobody in particular. Stop that. Walk into 5 restaurants this week. Ask the head chef what microgreen they wish they could get fresh and organic every single Tuesday. Then grow exactly that. Grow to order, not to hope. That is the whole game. Number 2, Gourmet Hardneck garlic, the plant it and forget it luxury crop. Forget that sad papery white garlic at Kroger that tastes like nothing and was grown who knows where. Real Americans who shop organic farmers markets are now hunting for flavor like they hunt for craft beer. Music, chestnut red, Spanish roja, these hardneck varieties have huge gorgeous cloves, wild streaks of purple, and a taste that will make store-bought garlic feel like a practical joke. Here's why it is so profitable per square foot. You plant cloves 6 inches apart in October, you mulch heavily with straw, you literally do nothing all winter while it does its thing under the snow. You harvest in July, you cure it in your garage for 2 weeks, and it sits happily for 6 months while you sell it for $2 to $3 a head, or $10 for a cute 3-pack braid that looks amazing on Instagram. The mistake everyone makes is they plant softneck garlic from the grocery store because it is cheap. That is low-value commodity garlic, and it hates real cold winters in places like Minnesota, Wisconsin, and upstate New York. Go Hardneck, go Heirloom, tell the story, charge the premium. Number 3, cut and come again fancy salad mix, the salad that never quits. If you are still growing head lettuce and counting that as profit, you are living in 1995. The money is in mesclun, baby greens, spicy mustard blends, mizuna, tatsoi, red vein sorrel, little leaves that look like they were painted. A single square foot planted intensively can give you 3 to 4 cuts over a month if you cut high and keep it watered. That means one planting pays you 3 times. At farmers markets across the United States, organic salad mix is moving at $16 to $24 a pound, and customers do not even flinch because they know that bag from Whole Foods was picked a week ago and yours was picked this morning. The secret sauce most people botch is post-harvest handling. They pick at noon in the heat, they throw it in a bag, it turns to slime. Pick at dawn, dunk in ice cold water immediately, spin dry gently, store in a cold cooler at 34 degrees. Crisp sells, limp does not. Number 4, heirloom cherry tomatoes grown vertically, the Skyscraper cash crop. Big beefsteak tomatoes are divas. They split, they get blossom and rot. They take forever. And one hornworm can ruin your whole vibe. Cherry tomatoes, especially the crazy colored organic heirloom cherries like black cherry, sunrise bumblebee, yellow mini, and Brad atomic grape, are absolute machines. Train them up a single string or kettle panel 8 feet tall, and one plant footprint of maybe 2 square feet will crank out pounds and pounds from July until first frost in most zones in America. You sell them by the pint, not by the pound, because a pint of rainbow cherries looks like jewelry. $8 to $12 a pint is normal in urban markets from Austin to Brooklyn. The tip that separates hobby growers from profit growers is you have to harvest every single day, mix the colors in every pint, and never ever refrigerate them. Cold kills the flavor and your reputation. Number 5, fresh cut culinary herbs, the bundle that weighs nothing and sells like gold. Think about it. A tiny bunch of organic basil or cilantro costs you maybe 10 cents to grow, and you flip it for $4 to $5 at market. That is insane margin. Restaurants blow through herbs like crazy. Juice bars need mint by the pound. Taco trucks will buy all the cilantro you can grow if it is truly organic and not sprayed. The real trick is succession and seasonality. Everyone grows basil in July, so July basil is cheap. Smart growers grow cilantro and dill in cool spring and fall when nobody else has it. They grow parsley all year long in high tunnels. They grow mint in pots so it does not take over the world. If you can promise a chef fresh organic dill every single week for 6 months straight, you just became their favorite person, and they will pay you without haggling. Number 6, gourmet mushrooms, the crop that does not even need sun. This is where the game gets completely unfair in your favor. Oyster mushrooms, lion's mane, chestnut pink oysters. You can grow these in buckets, in your garage, on shelves, in a closet, in a shady corner of your property in Oregon or North Carolina where nothing else grows. No soil, no weeding, just hardwood, fuel pellets, spawn, humidity, and patience for like 3 weeks. Organic lion's mane is selling for $18 to $32 a pound at retail in the United States because biohackers think it makes them smarter and moms think it replaces chicken nuggets. The reason your profit per square foot explodes here is you grow vertically on racks. 10 square feet of floor space becomes 60 square feet of growing space. Most people get scared because they think mushrooms are science lab hard. They are not. They are just different. Start with blue oyster. It is aggressive and forgiving. Then level up to lion's mane once you dial in fresh air. Number 7, day neutral strawberries in vertical systems. The flavor bomb everyone is desperate for. Let me be real, 99% of organic strawberries in American grocery stores taste like wet cardboard that has been in the fridge too long. If you can grow a truly ripe organic strawberry that was picked 2 hours ago, people will lose their minds and throw money at you. Forget giant June-bearing matted rows that break your back. Use rain gutters, vertical towers, or raised beds with ever-bearing day-neutral varieties like Albion, Seascape, or Alpine. You get fruit all summer. You pick standing up. You use almost zero ground space. And you sell a pint that weighs almost nothing for $8 to $10 because the flavor is unreal. The mistake most growers make is they try to compete on volume with California. Do not. You will lose. Compete on flavor, freshness, and story. Pick in the morning, sell out by noon. Post a video of the morning harvest. Watch the line form. Number 8, baby root veggies, the cute tax. Baby carrots, baby beets, baby turnips, radishes like French breakfast and watermelon radish. Americans are obsessed with cute food and will pay double for baby anything. These grow fast. 30 to 50 days. You can interplant them between slower crops. And a bunch of rainbow baby carrots with the tops still on sales for $6 when the same weight in big carrots would sell for $2. It is all presentation. Wash them beautifully. Leave an inch of green top. Bundle with twine. Suddenly, you are not selling a root. You are selling a farmer's market photo op. So here is how I explain this whole strategy to my friends who still do not get it. Growing low-value commodity crops in a small space is like trying to fill a bathtub with a leaky water gun, while growing high-value niche organic crops is like hooking that tub straight to a fire hydrant. Same water, same tub, same effort. Totally different outcome because you chose the right tool. In 2026, America, with grocery prices being wild and people more focused on health than ever, they are not looking for more corn. They are looking for more meaning, more flavor, more freshness, and they will pay you handsomely to be the person who provides it. That is exactly why we built Organic Matters, to cut through the fluff and show you what actually makes money without needing 100 acres or a giant loan. Now, before I let you go, I need to start a little chaos in the comments because I love reading your hot takes. Here is the debate starter. Do you guys think it is smarter to grow the most profitable crop possible, even if you personally hate eating it, like you cannot stand mushrooms, but they make bank? Or should you only grow what you love to eat, even if it makes way less money per square foot? Are you team profit first or team passion first? Drop it below and defend your answer. I am picking the spiciest comments for next week's shout out. And if you are serious about turning your organic garden into a real income stream in the United States, you need to hit subscribe and tap that bell right now, because next week's video is an absolute monster. I am pulling back the curtain on how Whole Foods actually chooses its organic suppliers, what kind of paperwork they demand, who they say no to, and most importantly, what they really pay per pound behind the scenes versus what you see on the shelf price tag. I got real numbers, real emails, and real farmer interviews that they do not want floating around. You will not find this breakdown anywhere else. So subscribe to Organic Matters, join the family, and I will see you in the next one where we get even deeper into the business side of doing good for the soil and your wallet.